In his book, Life is a Dance, motivational and spiritual author Stephen Redhead says this: each new day is an invitation to an adventure of your own making. Invitation and response are at the heart of today's gospel story. So for the next few minutes, we will consider the invitation God offers to each of us, an invitation to adventure in love. We will also talk about the need to assess the upsides, downsides, dangers, and risks before we accept or refuse that invitation. Love is truly a lifelong adventure, and it encompasses every dimension of living. Love is always God's invitation, even in the most difficult of circumstances. Love of other people, ourselves, creation, and God within and among us always needs to be our guidepost as we discern how to respond to that invitation. And we know that sometimes the loving response is not an easy or feel-good one. Lady, situations such as relationships, work challenges, and larger societal issues certainly invite us to adventure in love. But life's simple moments also draw us into this adventure. In this fall season, watching squirrels gather their stash of acorns for the winter, taking a moment to bask in the beauty of the changing leaves, and drinking in the aroma of still blooming roses, all beckon us to go deeper into the divine adventure. Last week on Facebook, I saw a smiling photo of Jim Power along with Ann Hayden and her daughter Meg as they enjoyed the adventure of a sunrise over a Minnesota lake. The photo made love come alive as it embodied a simple yet powerful moment of family and beauty. Invitations to adventure in love come in many forms in both the challenging and simple moments. To help us accept and respond appropriately to those love invitations, it's important that we foster openness, courage, a reflective and discerning spirit, and a willingness to risk, all in all the ways that love requires. I'm now going to share an example that it is especially poignant in light of the unfortunate war and massacres occurring in Israel and Gaza. It is a story of tragedy and hope that was posted on the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum website. It speaks about a Holocaust survivor, Alfred Munzer, and how he and others accepted God's invitation to adventure in love. In 2019, Alfred Munzer was invited to speak at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, about his family's experience during the Holocaust. Following his presentation, a man came up to him with tears in his eyes and said, "I am a young father and have a 1-year-old daughter. Who will tell her your story when she grows up?" He then asked Munzer to write a letter to her so that she could read it when she was old enough to understand the lessons of the Holocaust. Alfred Munzer accepted this man's invitation and wrote a beautiful, heart-touching letter to his daughter, Olivia, sharing specific details of his own family's experience. Alfred's parents lived in the Netherlands, where he and his two sisters were born. Alfred was the youngest, born in 1941. And in 1942, all five of them went into hiding in 3 different places. Alfred was passed along to a couple different people before finally landing with the Modena family, where the dad, 3 children, and their nanny cared for him until after the war. He was so grateful to this family for risking their lives in hiding him from the Nazis. Amazingly, years later, as an adult, Alfred met a woman who, when she was 9 years old, saved half of her milk bottle every day to feed to the baby who was next door during the war. Turns out that baby was Alfred Munzer. When the war ended, Alfred found out his sisters were sent to Auschwitz, where they were killed. His dad was sent to several concentration camps and survived long enough to be liberated, but died shortly after that. His mom lived through a series of concentration camps, including a death march, and was liberated in 1945. Alfred was 3.5 years old when he was reunited with his mom. Although Alfred told Olivia a story of horror and tragedy, he also wrote in his letter about the goodness of people in the midst of evil and how important it is to stand up and do what is right. All those who risked their lives to save him, a 9-month-old Jewish baby, made it possible for him to grow up, become a doctor, and share his story with the world. The Modena family, in particular, did this as they accepted God's invitation to love, displaying extraordinary courage and a great willingness to risk in all the things love required. Alfred Munzer accepted God's invitation to adventure in love at many levels. He accepted the invitation to speak at Old Dominion University, and in doing so, accepted the invitation to break open his heart and be vulnerable in sharing both deep pain and liberating redemption. He accepted the invitation to write a letter to Olivia, and his response has allowed all of us to receive his story in all its beauty, pain, and hopefulness. God is always inviting us to adventure in love in the midst of simplicity and complexity, profound pain, and immense beauty in the ordinary moments of our daily life. This week, reflect on where your heart is right now and what love adventure the Holy One is inviting you to accept. Let us remember the words of Stephen Redhead that we began with. Each new day is an invitation to an adventure of your own making.